Welcome back. December 2nd, National Fritter Day. Fritters. They're little deep fried things. They could be dessert, they could be savory, sweet, you name it. There's all different kinds of fritters. So you kind of got to decide what you want to do today. I decided to do today, keeping in line with it's time, it's that season, it's December now. We got to do the little party favor kind of thing. It was one part of our theme. The other part is we got rid of the pumpkin, and I told you we're moving into eggnog peppermint season. Well, we're going to do an eggnog fritter today. This one's going to be kind of cool. I'm anxious to try it. I got my deep fryer going because you got to deep fry your fritters. And I got some eggnog, and what I did was add a little dark rum to that just to give it that little extra kick. Alrighty, so it's not a lot of ingredients, but there's a few steps to it. Let's get started on this one because I'm dying to try some fritters. Okay, so here's what we do. In a big bowl, okay, I'm going to take 1 1/4 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of malted milk powder, which we've used before, so we want to kind of use that up. I have 3 tablespoons of sugar, regular sugar. I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, so I have all those things. I'm going to whisk them together. Okay, and then I'm just going to sift them just because I don't want all kinds of lumps and stuff in my batter. Okay, in a separate bowl, I'm going to take 3/4 cup of eggnog, and I added to that a 1/4 cup of dark rum, okay? So that's going to give us that extra little rum kick. Take 1 egg, add that to that as well, and just whisk that together. It's pretty easy so far, right? Okay, so now just whisk the wet into the dry. Okay, that's why you put the dry in a bigger bowl to make sure you have plenty of room to whisk that together, okay? And make sure you really get in there and get all the dry flour mixed into this. This should make a pretty thick batter, I'm hoping, because that'll make it easier to scoop and drop it into balls with our cookie scoop, okay? As I splash my flour everywhere. Okay, and that's it. So we got our fryer all ready to go. 350 is our heat on our oil here, and that's all at temperature. I like using this because it has the gauge right on it, so the light goes off when you know you're at temperature. It's not like when you do it on the stove, which you can do with your, candy thermometer just to get you to see, but it fluctuates too much. This will kind of keep it at that temperature. Now you do a test scoop and drop. Seems like it should be okay. I mean, it could be a little bit thicker, I think, because it's kind of pancake batter-ish. See, if you hold it, it'll drip. So we're just going to try to move fast and get a scoop of it, and then just see. We'll do a test one first and see. If not, I may add a little more flour to this just to make it a little bit stiffer, but let's see. So I drop one in, and we'll see how we do with that. No, that seems to be working. I mean, it's got some stringy parts of, when you drop it. I'll take it out and I'll show you what I mean. Now, you got to keep your eye on this because at some point you're going to have to flip them over because the top part that's sitting out of it starts to float, and the top part that's sitting out has to flip over to cook the other side, okay? So, but I mean, they look pretty much like I thought they would. Alrighty, so let me do this first one. I'll be right back to show you this one, and then we'll continue on with the rest. Okay, so see, I'll show you what they look like. See how it comes out? It comes out, we got some paper towel ready here. It actually looks like a little Christmas ornament with that little, with the little tag kind of hanging there. So that's kind of cool. I mean, for the Christmas theme. But the other thing is too, since it's our first one, and I've never made these before, I want to cut into it because I want to see how long to cook these. You got to do a test one first. See, it's still not cooked on the inside. It's still it's raw dough on the inside. So we want to make sure that we getting them to the point where they're cooked. So we may have to leave them in there for a little bit longer. The only thing is I don't want them to get much darker than this, because this is the kind of the consistency I want on the outside. I just don't want them too brown, because then they're going to be like kind of burned, no? All right, so we'll continue with our process, and we'll be back when we got a plate full of these things once we figure out the timing. And I'll tell you what that timing is when I come back. I figured I'd give you a close-up so you can see what's going on here. I'm taking a scoop of my stuff here and dropping it right in. Now it makes a weird shape right off the bat until it starts to blow up. These blow up all by themselves, which is kind of cool. The other thing I noticed is you don't have to turn these. I thought you have to turn them over like a lot of things. These things turn themselves. It's really amazing. It's almost like they're tanning themselves, and they're like, okay, I'm done on this side, and then it flips, it just kind of rolls and flips itself over and tans itself on the other side. So I'll show you that. As soon as that starts to go down, let me just get a spatula. Want to make sure we get as much of this dough as possible and make as many of these as we can. Don't waste any. I should get another 2, maybe 3 out of that. So there they are, and they're frying up. As you can see, just keep your eye on them. They're just going to start to roll, and they turn themselves, which is pretty amazing. I think that's kind of cool. So you don't really have to sit there and babysit. Now, I decided to turn the temperature down just a little bit. So it's about 340, 350, and 5 minutes, about 5 minutes approximately, they're done. It really depends, I guess, on the size of the scoop that you're using. If you made them with a bigger scoop, it'd probably take longer. So then you'd probably want to turn the heat down just a little bit more, because if it's too hot, that's the problem. If it's too hot, you're not giving it enough time to cook on the inside, and it cooks too fast on the outside. But these seem to be coming out perfect now. I mean, they're a little, like I said, you get these little pointy little edges and stuff on them by dropping them like that. If the dough was a little thicker, you'd probably get more of an even ball, but it may change the consistency of the fritter, which we don't want to do. We want them to be nice and light and fluffy. See how they just keep turning themselves? It's really cool. Alrighty, so I'll be back when we're going to do the next step. We're going to toss these in some cinnamon sugar as soon as they come out of here, and we'll be back for that. You immediately, when you take them out, you want to just drop them in some cinnamon sugar. Roll them around. That's it. Put them right on your plate. Okay? Better if I gotta get some brown paper bags. You put the sugar in the bags like you do Zeppelis with powdered sugar, which you could do powdered sugar on these as well, but it's just easier if you do it like that, and then just drop them right into a bag and then shake them up. Okay? So just a little cinnamon sugar I think is going to be great though with this eggnog flavor we got going on here, okay? These are really, really, really easy, and I can't wait to try one of these. I don't know if they're sweet enough on their own, so just a light dusting of the cinnamon sugar. Maybe I'll do another batch with some powdered sugar as well. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just leave them plain. I don't know. But anyway, we'll be right back for the tasting. I got to plate some and get some whipped cream because we need a little presentation so we show you how you serve it to your guests for dessert. Look at that. That's what you want to do. That's how you want to serve them. Get a nice little plate, something a little fancy or whatever. Christmassy even, which would be great. Put about 4 or 5 of them on there with a nice dish of whipped cream on the side. That's what you present to your guests for dessert after a nice dinner, okay? You could even use colored sugar, would be a great idea because it's the holidays. If you want to roll these in like some red and green crystallized sugar, make sure you do it as soon as they come out so that way they're still a little wet with the oil, and that way the sugar will immediately adhere to it. And make it nice and festive. You can do the same thing. Make your own homemade whipped cream with a couple drops of food coloring. So you can add some color to that. Whatever you want to do. It'd be really, you go crazy because it's Christmas time and you want to, give your guests, you know, the experience when they come over. Like, wow, man, they went through all this. This wasn't any trouble. What was it? 6 ingredients, and you dropped them in a fryer, and you didn't even have to turn them. They turned themselves. But anyway, let's give one a try today. I'm going to cut one open. Make sure it's cooked all the way through. Yes, it is. That's why you always do that first one as a test, just to make sure that you get your timing right on your frying. Because if you just keep doing them and you think, oh, they're brown on the outside, they're cooked, and then you just do them all and you shut your fryer off, and then you cut into that first one and it's a mess. You go, oh no, now what are you going to do? Now you toss them in cinnamon sugar and it's too late. You can't go back. But see, perfectly cooked on the inside. Now let's do the flavor. We got to check the flavor. So before I put whipped cream on, I want to just taste the flavor of this eggnog. Okay. I say this with everything on this show. But if you don't make these, you are crazy. Because these are crazy good. Alright, I'm going to put a little whipped cream on this. Oh my god, you definitely taste the eggnog flavor, and the addition of the rum just gives it that little extra kick. They're spongy and cakey. Almost like a Zeppeli, but not as chewy. Oh man, this is one of the best fritters I ever had in my whole... This is one of the best fritters I ever eaten. As Scotty on the Little Rascals would say. Really, really, really fantastic. Over the top. Super easy. Great presentation. It's the holidays. You gotta go crazy. I'm gonna make a huge platter of these for the holidays when I have company over. Alright everybody, National Fritter Day. This is the one. Keep your corn fritters and your zucchini fritters and all your other veggie fritters. Give me these. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody.